Hello guys, this is Mon. So welcome back to Tech and Talk. In the previous video we have worked on creating the image viewer, and in this video we are going to update this demo, and we'll try to enhance that UI a bit, and our target is to achieve this UI like this. We have a file menu, and inside the file menu we have to select the directory. So if I select the image folder from here, you can see the images, and I click that, the images get loaded dynamically like this, and we can select, this was from the previous tutorial. So next thing is we implemented the next and previous functionality as well, right? You can see the selection is also changing with next and previous click. So in this tutorial let's see how to implement this thing, and let's get started. So yeah guys, we are here in code that we have written for the previous tutorial. So let's update this one, and first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to add the menu toolbar here, menu strip. I will add this one here, right? And I will add first menu with the name of file, and I will add a sub menu with the name of select directory, right? So yeah, and let me just adjust these controls, and let's add two buttons for next and previous as well. Let me add button 1 and button 2 like this. Yeah, so the name of the buttons will be previous, and for this one we need to add next, right? So yeah, another thing is let's resize them, and for this I will go to format, sizes. For the width I will select somewhere around this, and for the height I will go for something like this, and I will adjust their locations as well like this. Okay, so it looks good now. So let's add event behind this, behind these buttons. So I will going to use the same technique to use same event behind both of these button clicks. For this purpose, let me first add a click behind this one, and let me update the event name, which should be button underscore navigation, right? And I will use this same okay, and I will use the same event for this one here, and we'll copy paste this from here, and we'll do this one, and we need to just change the reference of the button so that we are navigating for both clicks to that event, right? It's working now. So let me save this one, and for the directory, selecting a directory, we need to add on click method of this menu item. For this, let's go to property events, and for the click I just double click this one, and it will add an event. So behind this event we want to open folder browser dialog. Yeah, we need this one, folder browser is equal to new folder browser, like this. And next thing we want is folder browser dot show dialog. If it is equals to dialog result dot OK, let me wrap this one inside if condition, like this. If we select a folder and press OK, then we want to do what we want to do. We want to select the path. For this purpose, let me save this one in a variable. Let's say selected directory is equals to folder browser dot selected path, like this. And to read all the files inside this directory, we need to do paths is equal to what we can see, image paths is equal to selected directory. No, not like this. We need to do directory dot for the directory we need to add a reference for system.io dot find dot what we can get files, like this. It will bring us all the files, and it is required the directory path, like this. So all the file paths will be available in this variable. So next thing will be to load these images into our system. So for this purpose we need to reuse the existing functionality from here. First thing was load images from folder. Let's go to this function. Okay, and what it is doing, that it is picking all the files, basically 10 hard-coded length of files from this location. So what I will do, I will give that list to this function dynamically. Let me forward that list paths, and it will do that for each var path in paths. Okay, we don't need index now, we don't need to increment in this index. And what we can do is, the path is coming from here, so we don't need that one as well. We need to give it the path directly, and the images will be loaded into loaded images list, right? So that's the update for this method, and we don't need to use this in form load. By the way, we don't need to use form load method now, so we will remove this at the end of this tutorial. So we are moving this code from this event to the menu click event. So we have the paths here selected, and next thing we will call is load images from folder, and it will take the paths from this variable. Let me also add a comment, image path from selected directory the overlay selected directory. Okay, and this is loading images from selected from image paths, right? So what will be the next thing? Okay, we are loading images. Okay, so next thing would be to load this list of images to the image list and show them. So for this purpose, let me cut all this code from here and move it right here. So loaded images will be loaded into image list, and this image list will be bind to our list view, right? So we now need to remove this from load method right away, and to remove the error we need to remove this binding as well. So let's give it a try. Okay, and let me select the location from here, which is my computer, temp and the images, like this. Oops, great. So it's loading the images from that folder, and when I click the image, it is working as it was previously. So this is cool. And next thing we want to do is we want to make these next and previous work, so that we can navigate these images or go through this list from these buttons. So let's add this functionality as well. So we are going to use this image navigation event here. So what we will do is we will need a local variable which will be in int of type, and it will be selected image index, and let's initialize it with 0. Let me comment selected image from the list view. Okay, image index from the list view. Alright, so we will consume that variable. So first of all, we need to differentiate that if the previous button is clicked or next is clicked. So for that, let me cast clicked button sender as button, right? And we will check if clicked button dot text dot equals previous, then do this thing, otherwise do this thing, right? So in case of previous, what we will need is we will require to, let's see how we have set the selected image to the picture box like this. Let me copy paste this code and we will reuse it right here. And now we have the selected index coming from a variable, and this which is selected image index, right? This is a private variable, we just have to declare at the top of the file. and we want to, yeah, that's cool. And before assigning this selected image index to get the image and select and giving that image to picture box, we need to confirm that it shouldn't be the first image in the case of previous and the last image in the case of next. So we will need to check if selected image index selected image index is greater than 0, so that if the previous is clicked, we can jump to the 0 next, right? Then do this action, and before this action we need to decrement the selected image index by 1, right? And same goes here, but for this thing we need to check if less than the loaded images dot count. Okay, and we know that the count is always count is always greater than the index, because index starts with 0 and the count starts with 1. So we need to make a minus from this count as well, right? And we need to increment in this case, right? So yeah, I think that's all, and yeah, let's give it a try. So I will open my images folder. All the images are loaded and it's working. So in case of next is moving next, right? And in the case of previous, it is working absolutely fine. But you have noticed that the select functionality is not working because the images are not getting selected from this list dynamically. So we need to add this functionality now. So for this purpose, what we will do one thing, which is image list, right, dot items. And for this, what we want is image index dot select should be true. So what we are doing here is we want the list view items and want to select that item which is on this index, and we want to make it selected, right? And same thing goes to here, but there will be a problem. But before that problem, we want to demonstrate once. So I am selecting the image directory which is in my PC, temp, and the images. Okay, and it's working, but you can observe that it's selecting all the images, not deselecting the previous images. which are already selected. So this is the problem. You can see all the images are selected now. So although we are setting the selected property true, but we need to deselect the all deselect the selected images other than this at this index. So for this purpose, let's move this selection functionality into a separate function, and let's call it void select the select item. Okay, and we will pass over list view to it, and we need the index that we want to be selected. So for this purpose, list dot item on this index, we want it to be selected, right? But this will not work in this way because we need to deselect all other items as well. So there are a couple of ways. For the simplicity, I am going to use the for loop, right? And I am going to add int item is equal to 0, item is less than list dot items dot count, and item plus plus. Right, and what I want is if the item is equals to the index, then do this thing, right? And in all other cases, do this thing, right? So we will just call this function from inside of this. Although there is a duplication of code, we can improve the code. The improvement process is a continuous process. Currently we are going to achieve our functionality. So yeah, I just placed that function here. Let's see if it works. I'm going to select the same my PC, temp, and the images. Where the images goes here. All right, so I am selecting and I am going to next item. It's not going previously. So what has happened? Let's see what has happened. What I have done is I am iterating Let's see without this if it's working. Select directory, this PC, temp, images, right? Yeah, it's working this way, but not the selection was the problem here. So let's debug this. So what we are doing is list view index selected true if item equals to index. So yeah, there is the glitch. It should be the list, not the image list. So let's remove this and try to run this again. Obviously it's hectic to find the directory again, but this is part of the process we have to follow. Nope. Let's see what has happened. So yeah, okay, I got it. So what it is happening is, on the first thing, when we manually changing the selection, we are not updating the selected image index, and now we are updating it like this. And one other thing was that we are looping, but we are not using this item. We are just, on each iteration, we are just using the same selected index, so it should be item instead of the index, not. It should work fine. Let me give it a run and let's see. I'm going to my computer, temp folder, then images and selected. So yeah, if I move next and previous, you can see the selection is also changing, right? You can see the blue overlay on the images, right? And same here when I go previously. All right, and if I select them manually, you can see it should work together with our next and previous functionality. So that's it, and that was the updation on this application that we were trying to achieve. So we did it, and you know, it's all about the implementation, and it's all about the requirements. We can enhance this UI as much as we can. So hopefully you guys will try. You guys will clone this code and will add your own thoughts into this and implement your required features, and we'll try to play. So that was it for today's session. We'll see you soon. Have a good day. Enjoy coding. Bye bye.